Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about Ultimate Spider-Man Night at the Museum, the Jessie crossover. Yeah, that happened. So, yeah, at some point in time, the Disney Channel show Jessie decided to cross over with the Disney XD show Ultimate Spider-Man. Now, Ultimate Spider-Man and Jessie are weird enough to have them two combined with something crazy. Like, it's a very comedic episode. Like, there's action, but man, is it comedic and everything. Like, it's a really silly episode. It's a nice episode. It's not like great or spectacular or nothing like that, but you know, it's enjoyable and stuff. And there's some cool little moments and everything. And I gotta say, the Jessie cast did a really good job voice acting. Now, Jessie is a show I absolutely love to death, and I've seen every episode. Ultimate Spider-Man, on the other hand, when I saw the trailer, I was hyped. Like, you have no idea for it. Then it came out. And I'm just like, why is this dude breaking the fourth wall all the time? And like why is it so silly? And why does it feel like anime at times? Needless to say, this is not my favorite Spider-Man show. I do like it. The first couple of seasons I just can't get through. It's too much Teen Titans for me. But in a serious kind of way, if you want to say, a serious, goofy kind of way. So I just can't get into it. But I do like, I started watching the series and I started to really like it when he went into the multiverse. That when things got really good. And then he ditched his team and he started hanging out with the other Spider-Man on the Web Warriors and stuff. And then it started getting really good. He started breaking the fourth wall a lot less. It was less high school stuff, more SHIELD stuff. And then I watched it all the way towards the end. It just got like better and stuff. But I really loved it when he did the whole multiverse thing. That really was really good. So Drake Bell is Spider-Man. He's one of the longest running Spider-Man there ever been. And he's been in so many multiple shows and stuff. It's so sad his life went to tragic. Like, those former kid stars, man, I swear. But anyway. So this episode, just like the name says, it's a playoff of the movie where things come alive at the museum. So Spider-Man, he's fighting Shocker really quick in the beginning of the episode, and he defeats him. So then it's like Halloween, and he wants to go to this museum and geek out and everything. He thinks he's gonna be the only person there because it's close to like closing time, so he's gonna sneak in. But wouldn't you know it, the Ross kids are there. Because Robbie wants to go. And so, you know, the Jessie kids, they don't miss a beat. Like, whoever wrote this exactly the way they act and all the jokes with them. And, like, it's spot on when it comes to them. So that's a good thing. The animation. Now, I will say this about Ultimate Spider-Man. Ultimate Spider-Man got some amazing, gorgeous, beautiful animation. It's probably the best animation I've ever seen out of any Spider-Man cartoon, even that a Spider-Man the animated series, and that's my all-time favorite. But yeah, it's like there's just this gloss feel to it that makes it look special, you know. Now the Ross kids animation, their faces look weird. Sometimes even their bodies look weird. Like, it feels like they don't belong in this animation style. Like, the animation for their bodies and faces is completely different. It's more realistic. Like, it has that hyper realism to it, you know? Like older cartoons from the 90s and 80s and stuff. So it doesn't match the style and the faces of that of Ultimate Spider-Man. That's just a plain cartoony face and stuff. So it kind of does take you out, and especially when their mouth moves, because it doesn't always move perfectly from what they're saying and stuff. But anyway, the Ross kids are there and they're doing their jokes and stuff like that. And then Spider-Man, he's trying to get into the exhibit, but the security guard won't let him. But then the Ross kids sneak in. So they're literally just wandering around doing whatever they want. Like, it's just so weird at a play. They're just like strolling around. No one is closing time, but they don't care. And so, like, next thing you know, he interacts with them, and they're all in their Halloween costume. Zuri's dressed as Doc Ock. Robbie's a wizard. Emma's a princess. I have no idea what the other dude is. But so Spider-Man ends up touching this sword because he wants to see the museum exhibit of like the knights and stuff like that, and he touches the sword, and I think what's her name, Jessie touches the sword too, and one of them touched like the crystal in the middle or something like that, and then next thing you know, some weird freaky stuff starts happening. And then next thing you know, Morgan Le Fay arises, and she's been trapped in there for like forever and ever. And she's all like, "Oh, kids, I love kids, but you know what I love more? That sword. So why don't you give it to me?" So they don't trust her and everything. And then this one starts to show her true colors. So this Morgan Le Fay is totally different from any other Morgan Le Fay I've ever seen. Now, Morgan Le Fay is from ancient, like medieval novels, mythology, stuff like that. King Arthur stuff, Merlin stuff. So she's back with the whole King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table and Merlin and Guinevere and all that. But she always makes her ways in the cartoons, DC and Marvel. Now, the DC version that they had for the Justice League show, she was cool. She was evil. Man, boy, was she evil. She was evil. Oh my God. This woman, she's evil, but in a comedic, teenagery kind of way. They had to keep it honest because, you know, Jess is a Disney Channel show, so they couldn't have it too scary, I guess. But you know, the kids watch it on the Ultimate Spider-Man. And have you seen that Doc Ock and the way he looked? So, I mean, come on, whatever, you know. So she's kind of like a teeny boppy type person. And so she wants the sword. And so she's attacking. So she makes everything come alive in the museum. So you have like knights coming alive. You have dinosaurs coming alive. You have cave people coming alive. And, you know, everybody's interacting with everything and running from everything. And the kids are still making their jokes. But then at some point in time, the kids just start to act kind of blah. And then not only that, but then they disappear from like mostly the entire episode. And it's just Spider-Man and Jessie doing their thing. And it's just like the kids' dialogue in this, it's too much of that of their show. See, here's the thing. If you're going to do a crossover, you have to make sure both shows sound the way they do when they're on each other's shows. But then you also have to make them sound like they're on the other person's show. And that whole Disney Channel blending in with Disney XD, it didn't particularly work. So it feels out of place whenever the kids say something. Because it's just strange, you know? And at some point in time, Robbie and Luke, I think his name is, they're trying to get away in the old museum, like, plane. And I'm just like, now, boy, how do you think that's going to work? But then at some point in time, she brings to life Jack-O-Lantern. Now, this is the first time we've ever seen Jack-O-Lantern in any form of Spider-Man medium. He's a villain from the comic books. But they never bring him in because he's too much like the goblins, like Hobgoblin and the Green Goblin. So, you know, they just never bring him in. But they brought him in for this. So he's that version from something from the museum brought to life and stuff. And so, you know, what is it? So Spider-Man lets Jessie keep the sword. And so she's fighting like monstery looking things. And then at some point, Morgan makes Miss Kipling really large into a dragon. So now she's trying to burn everything. And Robbie's the only one to calm her down, talking about, you remember me, I rub your belly and all this other stuff, and I feed you, you're not going to eat me. So then she licks him and everything. And then, so as this is going on, Jessie is actually fighting Morgan Le Fay. Morgan Le Fay is like blasting her, and Jessie's just like deflecting it with the sword. And somehow Jessie is like leaping like hundreds of feet in the air and doing flips, which is something she never does on her show. So it's just kind of weird. I don't know if the sword is enhancing her or what. But at some point, all the kids come riding in on Mrs. Kipling, and it attacks Morgan Le Fay. And then somehow they trap her back like in the sword and stuff. And then they save the day. Then the kids are all like, you know, we missed trick or treating, but we had a great time. And is there one more thing you can do? So he takes them on the shield tri-carrier. I'm just like, dude, this is a shield thing. They don't let civilians on this thing. But of course, this is this goofy Ultimate Spider-Man show, so you know. And that's basically the entire episode. And it's just like, it's a weird, out of place episode, but it's fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, kids will enjoy it. And some adults will enjoy it too. That wasn't that spooky. Alright, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.